and welcome to a live news from our newsroom here in Abuja. I'm Khadija Ibrahim. Here are the top stories today. FG says Abuja remains safe amid US travel alert. A suicide bomber targets a restaurant in Borno, killing over 10 people in what is suspected to be a Boko Haram attack. Tensions escalate in the Middle East as Iran launches missiles at Israel and a US military base in Qatar, threatening to collapse a fragile ceasefire. Now the news in detail. The Minister of Works, David Umahi, revealed in an interview that 2,604 projects were reintegrated by President Bola Tinubu, initially valued at 13 trillion. The total cost has now risen to approximately 19 trillion due to the combined effects of fuel subsidy removal and the Naira's decline. David Umahi stated that the selection of projects were based on Federal Executive Council directives, which emphasized prioritizing works located within Nigeria's economic corridors, strategic zones critical to trade and national development. Out of the total, 440 projects have been identified as key priorities. Some are newly introduced, while others are ongoing.
Our projects inherited by Mr. President was 2,604 projects, and the value at that time was about 13 trillions. And then when we projected a review based on the removal of fuel subsidy and the floating of the Naira, at the end of 2023, we were getting about 19 trillions, to complete these projects. So what we have done is that some of the projects that were at the advanced stage of completion, we, had to, complete them and mark them off. And that constituted about, 10%, of the total number of projects. And so what we did, based on the directive of Federal Executive Council, is to prioritize, the completion of some of the projects. And so we looked at the projects within the economic corridor of the nation. And we also looked at, spread, because President, came to, right the past wrong so that every zone of this country will benefit, from his, unity program, to reunite the country. So we manifested about 440 projects, that are ongoing. Some of them we have completed. Some are also new ones. There has a total of 65 projects new that we started.
With national security, the federal government has moved to calm fears after the United States Embassy issued a security advisory warning of potential threats in Abuja. In response to the advisory, the Minister of Information, Muhammad Idris, stated that Abuja remains safe and that there is no specific or credible threat to the capital. He explained that the U.S. warning was part of a global security protocol and not tied to any known intelligence about Nigeria. There is no cause for panic. Our security agencies are alert and fully equipped to protect lives and property, Idris assured. The government has heightened security presence across key locations and urges citizens to stay calm, avoid spreading fear, and report anything suspicious. Meanwhile, the U.S. Embassy continues normal operations in Abuja and has not ordered any evacuation of its staff. In Kwanduga, Borno State, a female suicide bomber detonated explosives in a crowded restaurant, killing at least 10 and leaving many others injured. The attack occurred during peak evening hours and caused widespread panic. While no group has claimed responsibility, the assault bears strong resemblance to previous attacks by Boko Haram, which has been active in the northeastern region. Emergency services responded swiftly and the injured are receiving treatment. Authorities have since intensified patrols and imposed temporary restrictions in some parts of Borno. Police in Plateau State have arrested 22 suspects linked to a violent mob attack on bus passengers in Mungu local government area. The incident left at least 12 people dead and 11 others wounded. The Inspector General of Police has condemned the act, warning that mob violence will not be tolerated. Investigations are ongoing to identify other perpetrators and determine the motive behind the attack. The community remains tense with security forces deployed to maintain calm. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, is ramping up its crackdown on the abuse of the naira, particularly the act of spraying money at social gatherings. Dozens of offenders, including event hosts and performers, have been arrested or fined for violating currency handling laws. The EFCC emphasizes that the naira is a national symbol and must be treated with dignity, especially amid ongoing economic reforms aimed at strengthening the currency. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has announced upcoming by-elections in Bayelsa, Kano, and Plateau states to fill legislative seats that became vacant due to court judgments and resignations. According to INEC Chairman Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, political parties have a 2-week window to submit nominations. The commission assures Nigerians of transparent and credible polls. The spokesperson to the president on media and public communication, Sunday Dare, has responded to recent comments made by former Governor Sule Lamido regarding the June 12 struggle, describing them as hallucinations and an attempt to rewrite well-documented history. In his statement, Sunday Dare said, Sule Lamido needs to be cured of his hallucinations on June 12 and all that happened. I find his recent revisionist attempt to diminish the central role of President Tinubu in the June 12 struggle hogwash and coming too late. President Tinubu's role is secured in history. I know that for a fact. It is recent history. I was, in 1993, the correspondent of the news magazine operating from Jos Plateau State. I covered the June 12 annulment and the protests that engulfed the country. Sunday Dare noted the critical role played by the media in resisting the military regime and advancing the democratic cause. The news magazine and Tempo magazine were at the heart of that struggle, not only to annul the June 12 election, but more importantly, to send the military back to the barracks. Sunday Dare stressed that President Bola Tinubu's contributions to the pro-democracy movement are well documented and cannot be erased by political revisionism. We are sure of the huge role President Bola Tinubu played. Let Lamido tell the world the role he played, along with several others. Sunday Dare concluded by affirming the administration's commitment to preserving historical integrity and honoring all who contributed meaningfully to Nigeria's return to democratic rule. Nigerian music heavyweight Olamide has officially released his 11th studio album titled Olamide. The album features an impressive list of collaborators including Wizkid, Asake, Fireboy, and legendary US producer Dr. Dre. The album blends Afrobeats, street hop, and international sounds, marking a milestone in Olamide's evolution. Fans have already praised the project across streaming platforms, with several tracks trending globally. In the international scene, the fragile ceasefire between Iran and Israel appears to be on the verge of collapse. Iranian missiles reportedly struck Israeli civilian areas overnight, killing multiple people. In response, Israel's defense minister has authorized strikes on strategic targets in Tehran. The ceasefire, which had been brokered just days earlier by former US President Donald Trump, is now hanging by a thread. The international community is urging restraint, with the United Nations warning of a potential full-scale war if hostilities continue. Further escalating tensions, Iran has launched 6 missiles at the Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar, a key US military hub. Fortunately, all missiles were intercepted and no casualties were recorded. US officials confirmed that Qatar issued a prior warning, potentially helping avert a more serious incident. This marks a significant moment in the escalating confrontation between Iran, the US, and Israel, with global observers watching closely for diplomatic interventions. In Europe, the NATO summit has officially opened in The Hague. Leaders from 32 member countries are expected to agree on a bold new target: 5% of GDP to be spent on defense, Top priorities also include continued support for Ukraine, expanded cyber defense, and collective energy security. US and European leaders have emphasized the importance of unity as global security threats intensify from Russia, China, and emerging non-state actors. And that concludes today's news. From rising insecurity at home to diplomatic tensions abroad, the world is in a delicate moment, but so is the opportunity to act with resolve and responsibility. For more updates, stay with us online on Alive TV. I'm Khadija Ibrahim. Thank you for watching.